We're here on the Toth Media Podcast, and today we're going to answer some of your questions. Braedin put out a little Q&A on his Instagram, and you guys asked us some questions, and yeah, we're just going to both answer them to the best of our abilities from what we've learned. So the first question is, how do you get your clients at Toth Media?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good question.
Basically, we have an approach where we try to identify a problem online, where we look at somebody, we kind of do an audit of their social media presence and content, and we're like, well, I think we can do a better job. Let's offer them something like some services, whether it's social media management or content creation or website or ads or anything that we feel by looking at their current presence that we could help them out with. And that would help them sell more, help them create a stronger brand image. So
Totally.
Basically, the approach is just like we find a brand online that we obviously want to work with, is something that fits our style and fits our lifestyle. And then we find a problem, and then we pretty much draft a solution and how we can help. Yeah,
Totally. Yeah, I think it's really important to focus on the problem rather than too much on yourself. Like if you just go out there throwing around, oh, I do these services, like that's not always going to be what a brand needs. So I think it's important when I go and I'm like, I have an Excel sheet where I'm like looking for different brands that might want to work with us. I literally will I'll go on their social, I'll go on their website, I'll check if they're doing ads, and a lot of times they either aren't or they're not doing them well. And I'll think, we could probably bring a lot of value to these people.
Yeah.
So it's not just throwing stuff in people's faces. I think it's important to really know what problem you're going to be solving. And then once we are able to meet with them, whether it's in person or in like a video conference call, we can kind of ask them again. So like, what are you trying to solve? Like what problems do you need solved? And then we can actually give them solutions that, that are drafted specifically for them. So
so it's not quite like, hey, I'm a photographer, hire me to do something for you. It's like, you want to do your back end research and figure out like what kind of stuff they need, what kind of stuff they like. And then from there, you can ask some questions where you can understand more about where they're coming from, saying that like, oh, we just had this videographer on staff and then he's gone. So it's like, okay, then you can identify the issue. And when you're pitching somebody and hoping to land like a retainer or like a client or like a video project, you can really understand what they're looking for and then be like, yes, this is a good fit because, and then you can show them what you've done previously.
Right. Yeah. And maybe you have a following that you can leverage. Like you go on their social page, they have like 100 followers. Maybe you have like 10K or something, and you say to them, hey, you know this importance of social media, like I like create great content, here's some of my content, I'd love to help you create great content and tell your brand story. That's kind of like what we did, especially at the start, Braedin was able to relay his abilities to storytell for brands.
Yeah, and there's content that has different purposes, so we specialize in content that engages well online, because we go to these unique locations with people that have a certain skill set, and we kind of draft something that people appreciate online, where sometimes brands want content that tells their story and it's very kind of like, it's in the studio, it's in their factory, but we specialize in like, hey, you want to have a presence on social media, we can help with that because we create content that's kind of made for that.
Right. Totally. Yeah, if I were to end with one word of advice, it would just be to do a lot of research. Like the Gary V hustle is real. Like you can't just expect like every brand you pitch to work with you, but when you start to, make a list of a lot of brands you want to work with, when you have that volume, you are going to be able to find a brand that's going to need help online, because most brands don't know what they're doing. Yeah. So I would say work on your craft and then find problems that you can solve and just go hard on that. Like that's what we've definitely done.
And you can waste a lot of time pitching brands that don't have a problem. If you're Tesla and you don't really have a marketing solution besides a product that works very well, they don't do social media ads. They don't have creators create content for them. They don't do sponsored posts, or like you're not like, the likelihood of you landing a job with doing stuff for Tesla. So like it's not even, it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't spend your time. Yeah. Like you might as well find brands that are on a smaller side, especially when starting out, that have an evident problem.
Like literally Google map all the businesses around you and find one. Like,
go check out the social medias, go check the websites, and maybe you can't do a website, but you have a friend who can do a website.
Right.
Be like, hey, we'll do social and a website.
Yeah, go to like a busy area. Oh, there's a bunch of restaurants here. Go pitch all of them. Like, hey, you have no website, your social's terrible. Let me do a photo shoot in your restaurant. Like, there's so many opportunities.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah, with the camera gear nowadays too, you can create content that is amazing, and you can do it, for pretty cheap.
Totally. Cool. I like it. Next question is going to be a bit more focused towards you, Braedin. What kind of camera do you use, or cameras?
Yeah, well, right now I currently use a Sony a7 III. It's a pretty new camera. I think it came out about 6 months ago. And the reason why I use this camera, or this type of camera in general, it's a mirrorless camera, interchangeable lenses, because be able to change lenses is helpful. Getting different looks. You can go wide angle, which I typically shoot, or we can go telephoto if we're doing interviews. And it's very versatile, and it also takes photos and video, and it does both really well. So when you're a creator and you're out there creating content for brands, maybe you're on a hike, sometimes you want to take great photos at sunset, but then you want to get some B-roll of your friends walking. Maybe you're out on a hike and you're at the peak of a mountain, and you can change lenses, you can change from video to photo super quickly, and it just does really well for like a run and gun, single person production.
Right. I do love the Sonys. I've been converted from Canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all were at one point, I guess, Canon.
Yep.
Right.
That's true.
Cool.
Panasonic too.
Panasonic, yeah. Been all over the place.
Sony has the full frame sensors, which is great for low light and for astrophotography, for getting shot at the field, everything like that. So it works really well.
Totally. Yeah, from my limited creative experience at Toth Media currently, I love the Sony, just being able to take it when I go away with my wife or something, we go on a trip, then I can like capture little videos, capture like story videos, and it's like the most versatile thing out there.
And it's small too, it's nice.
Yeah, totally. Transportable.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question. What is the best business model for freelance creators? It's a good question.
Yeah, I feel like that probably depends on what kind of creator you are.
Right.
But I think a great business model, and one that's worked for us, is a retainer system, where, because sometimes when you're a creator, the typical freelance kind of workflow is like, oh, you'll do a gig 1 month, and maybe you'll line up a couple gigs the next month, and you'll make a couple grand off each one. And then it's like you're kind of living gig to gig in a sense. Yeah. And you kind of want to figure out like, where can I get a consistent income from, because bills you have to pay every month. So this retainer system where like, I'll do this amount of work for your company for this much money a month, and we'll do like a 6-month contract.
Right.
So then you kind of know what kind of money's coming in. You can kind of like budget around that. And eventually when you have a couple clients, you can have like a sum of money which you can put towards different things, like different subscriptions or gear leases or hiring people. So it gives you more flexibility when you're starting out, when you have a retainer where you know a certain amount is coming in every month.
Right. Yeah. Instead of making $3,000 for like a big video production, maybe you make $1,000 a month for 6 months, and then
exactly
that's going to help you be steady. And it's almost easier, I think, in some ways, to pitch a brand on, oh, it's only $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
But you can maybe, like Braedin did in the past and still does, take their product on the hikes you're already going on and kind of monetize what you're doing with your adventures. If you're kind of like one of the adventure style creators, but maybe you're into fashion, food, whatever it is, you can kind of include them in your lifestyle.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it works great because you know you're having a certain amount of money coming each month. You're able to go on trips, and on these trips you're creating and you're doing the work that they're paying for. So they're pretty much enabling you to do and live the lifestyle that you kind of want, which is nice. Yeah,
and as the accountant here, it definitely helps with planning, just being able to know, from our retainers, we are going to make X amount next month, and then say, okay, we can fly Braedin to Iceland. We can do this trip. We can do a staff retreat. We can invest in different tools. Like it's like a
give people raises and stuff.
Give people raises. Yeah. The boys in the back like that.
Oh,
yeah. And I think for us, what's worked really well in terms of like a business model, if you're a photography or like videographer, creative kind of person, to spend time learning social media, learning algorithms, learn how that works, and then you can actually pitch like packages. Like you can go to a brand and say, hey, I'll run all your social platforms, I'll do all the content, I'll maybe you learn how to make a Squarespace site for them too. Like
you can literally learn everything you need to know to start a marketing firm just online nowadays. It's just realizing that and going and doing it. Yeah,
and just start somewhere. Like I said before, go into every single restaurant and like speak to a manager or like stores and just show them your Instagram, show them that you have 15K or 25K, and just pitch, and you'll get so much better at it too as time goes on, and then you can actually learn how to provide more and more services. Like at the start, you just did photo and social media, and now we offer websites, we offer graphic design, we do a ton of Facebook, Google ads, like all that kind of stuff. So we have a more well-rounded approach, and I think you're gonna learn that as you go out and just do stuff. And maybe you only can charge a couple $100 at the start.
Yeah.
But then you start to get to a point where you can charge a lot more than that.
And then your current clients sometimes have different issues, like, oh, I need to get this done. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'll figure that out. And then through that process, you learn a lot. So
right.
It's great.
Totally. Cool. Well, that's it. We're just going to answer those questions today. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for being here.
See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.